All right, good evening. Brother Otis, this is Kyle Cobb, and Brother Amayakazar.
Shalom.
Shalom, how you doing? We'd like to thank you, brother, for allowing us to share this information with you and your congregation. We're going to let the congregation know we're Israelites. What we do is we teach our people their nationality according to the Bible. And according to the Bible, if the camera person can take us on over to the sign, according to the Bible, what we teach is that the so-called blacks in America, the so-called West Indians, the Haitians, the people from the Dominican Republic, from Puerto Rico, from Cuba, the Seminole Indians, the North American Indians, the landmass from Guatemala to Panama, from Venezuela to Uruguay, and from Argentina to Chile, and Mexico, the inhabitants of these lands of Negroid and Indian descent are the original 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel. What we use as our primary source of information is the Bible, the King James Version Bible, 1611. So what we like to do for the most part today is cover basic biblical information. When I say basic biblical information, I'm speaking in terms, for the most part, of what the Bible is, the type of document that it is. Is it a book of religion? The answer to that question we're going to be showing in the scriptures is the Bible actually is a book of laws, statutes, and commandments. It's also a book of history of the people to whom those laws, statutes, and commandments were given. It's also a book of prophecy, things that you can count on without doubt that will happen, have been written in the Bible thousands of years ago. So what we're going to do first is establish exactly what is this book. Brother Amayakazar is going to be reading for me. We're going to start off with Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8. Now when we go to Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8, like I said, we're reading this with the intention of finding out what is this document called the Bible. I'd like to reiterate also, we're dealing with the King James Version 1611. The book of Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8.
Joshua chapter 1 verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein.
So now when we speak about this book, Joshua said this book of the law, we're dealing with, for the most part, the law, statutes, and commandments that were given to the people whom Moses was used to deliver out from under the hand of the Egyptians. So we're speaking about dietary laws, moral laws, civil laws, and ceremonial laws. Within the ceremonial laws, there were sacrificial laws, which have been done away with. Today, we no longer have to uphold the sacrificing of the sacrificial laws. Those lessons will come later. But as far as the other four sets of laws, the dietary laws, those are the laws, those are the ordinances, the information that helps us to understand how it is we're supposed to eat. What it is that we're supposed to eat, or I said what we can eat, the meats that are clean and unclean to maintain optimal health. Then we have the moral laws. The moral laws literally define our latitudes, our freedoms, and our limits, what it is that we cannot do. That's moral laws. Then you have what we call the ceremonial laws. The ceremonial laws they show us specifically how the Heavenly Father intended for us to observe Him. They're referred to in the book as high holy days. And we also have what we call civil laws. Civil laws were given for us to be able to take our society and establish justice and equity, that there may be judgment that was upright for the poor as well as the rich and powerful. So those are the laws that Joshua is speaking of. I'd like you to read that again, brother, in verse 8.
Joshua chapter 1 verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein.
Right, go ahead.
For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous.
Now this is the thing. Prosperity for us was always contingent upon obedience to the law. It said, for then, read that again.
For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
So our success was always determined if we were by us being in good standing with the Heavenly Father. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go to one more book. We're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy. I'd like to get another passage that describes exactly what this book is. And then after we do that, we're going to go on to whom this information, to whom this law, these statutes, these commandments was given. Because according to the modern religious institution, the Bible is a document that was directed at all mankind. And so we're going to show you, according to the scriptures, that this couldn't be farther from the truth. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, maybe chapter 5. I always get a little bit dyslexic scripturally. Let me get there. Right. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, and we're going to read from verses 5 all the way down to verse 8. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me.
Now this is Moses speaking or addressing the congregation of Israel so many years, approximately 40, after having been delivered from the Egyptians, wandering in the wilderness for exactly 40 years. And now Moses is handing over the reins or the leadership to Joshua, and he's letting them know what it was he was responsible for. I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my power, the Lord my God, commanded me. Go ahead.
That you should do so in the land whither you go to possess it.
Continue.
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom.
Talking about the laws. The laws would be our wisdom. Go ahead.
And your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Go ahead.
For what nation is there so great, who have God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great?
What it's asking is, what other nation can say that they were given the laws by God to raise up their standard? There's no other people that can say that. We're going to go to another verse also to show you, to reiterate that point. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law?
As all this what?
This law.
As all this religion.
This law.
So that's what was given. When you deal with the Bible, you're dealing with a book of laws. It was intended to be a source of information that the people would use to govern themselves, or the people of Israel, that is. Go ahead.
Which I set before you this day.
One more verse. Verse 9.
Verse 9. Only take heed to thyself, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons.
Okay, so now that's what we established. We established that the Bible, and we could go on, but like I said, this is going to be, always asked that we make this brief, about an hour and a half. And I'm going to try to, it's going to be like an hour, it's going to be more like an hour and a half to 2 hours, but you're going to really appreciate the information. The intention was to have 1 hour and a half of information, and then an hour and a half of question and answer session by way of webcam. Webcast, how's it called? By webcast. Okay, so what we're going to really try to do is hold that to an hour and a half. It might spill over to 2 hours because the information, this basic information, is something that's really essential to be able to build off of the knowledge of the Bible. To really understand what the Bible is, or to really understand the message of the Bible, you have to start at these rudimentary levels. So we're getting that out the way. What is this book called the Bible? It's about a book of laws, statutes, and commandments. Now with the next few scriptures we're going to get is going to show you that it was given to one group of people, or in other words, one nation of people, and not any other people. So let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 147. Psalms 147, and we're going to read verse 19 and 20. Go ahead, brother.
Psalms 147, verse 19 and 20. He showed his word unto Jacob.
The he that's referring to is the Heavenly Father. In other words, God. He showed his word unto Jacob. Jacob is, or was, the third father of promise. You had Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So when he say he showed his word unto Jacob, he's talking about the entire nation, or the sons that came of Jacob that grew to be a nation. He didn't do this until after he had taken them out from under the hand of the Egyptians.